Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've uploaded anything, but I'm coming at you now with a series of reaction videos, specifically reacting to fight scenes. These are going to be fight scenes more or less from short films and independent projects instead of the big budget features. The reason why is because I want to break down and react to different fights I've never seen before and kind of how they can be improved or just pointing out how good they are, different things about them that are great, things that can be improved upon, all of that good stuff. So, let's jump in. We're going to start with a video that's actually not going to be a reaction video for me. This I've seen before, but I wanted to kind of start with it to give a breakdown because I think it'll be really helpful for those of you that are new to filmmaking and want to start doing action scenes. It's from a short project called Clocked by Tomorrow's Filmmakers, the YouTube channel Tomorrow's Filmmakers. So let's jump right in. So we got the two guys, they're facing off. Okay, decent. Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. The first thing you're going to notice is this block. And I can already tell that these guys are not stunt performers or martial artists. And the way you can tell is, one, if you look at the guy on the right, his left hand is wide open. So instead of being closed in a fist like you would be and getting blocked this way, it's open-handed, which you would never do if you're trying to punch someone in the face. So that's obviously he's not a martial artist and not a stunt performer. And then the guy who's blocking, he's got his arm way up here to block. He's almost blocking with his elbow as opposed to blocking with the part of his forearm closer to his wrist, which looks way better and more. There's less movement you have to do. There's a lot of reach involved with this. I don't know if they were instructed to like exaggerate their movements and really go far out on these, but it just does not look good. So if you're going to be doing any kind of fight scenes like this, keep your blocks close to your body and don't extend way out. That'll make it look so much better. Okay, problem I have with this fight scene overall is just the editing of it, the filming and editing of it. It's way too choppy, and you can't really follow what's going on. So the first guy here, he goes to punch. So let me back up and kind of show you what happens. So he's going to block and pull his arm back and then throw a punch. But they cut angles really fast. So they switch to this angle, and then they switch to the punch really fast. So it's really hard to keep track of what's going on because there's no time for your mind to register what's happening before it's changing to another angle. When you're shooting a fight scene, you want it to be absolutely clear what's happening so you can follow what's going on. And part of that is because you're trying to tell a story through the fight scene. The fight scene is telling a story. And we're not getting that here. Instead, what we're getting is just a bunch of really fast angle changes, which is really hard to follow and makes it more confusing than anything. When you're filming a fight scene, make sure you get the coverage you need and make sure you shoot 4 or 5 steps of the sequence from one angle, so that way you're not doing, okay, we're going to get this little clip here, and then we're going to move this clip here, and then we're going to come together really fast. It just doesn't look well that way. So make sure that when you're doing that, when you're filming this and editing it, that you're giving plenty of time for the audience to see what's happening. Now right here, if you notice, the punch is a little bit low. It could be higher, more towards the nose. One thing I was taught when it comes to stunt fighting is when you're punching, you want to aim for the nose or the eyes in this area to punch, because that sells better than if you're going for the chin or whatever. It may miss. Like this looks like a miss for the most part because it's not square in his face. It should be here. That'll sell more powerfully than this will. Also, his punch is a little weak looking, and he's got a bent wrist, which you'll see a lot of coming up. Again, we got this block, which is way up high. It's like the guy on the right, what's he punching at? Is he, like, the guy is taller than him, but not that tall. So there's no reason why his fist should be way above the guy's head. It's like they were taught to swing extra high in order to avoid accidentally hitting the person or something. Which you should know the choreography and well enough and practice it slowly so that we can work on the blocks so that way you can get closer to the head without worrying about that problem. The problem here is that they're just swinging way too high and it just looks really bad. This will look so much better if they would just lower their arms down about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. Yeah, about a foot and a half, and it should look a lot better. And then the guy's also on the right's got his left arm way down by his side rather than being up here to block potentially, which is again a sign that they're not stunt performers or martial artists at all. Which they should, if they're gonna do any kind of stunts in the future, fighting, they should probably learn all that. It'd be really helpful. Could you follow any of that? It was very difficult because again they're changing angles so fast. It's really hard to see what's happening. So you want to be sure that you cover enough. And people like Jackie Chan would shoot wide angles without cutting for 5, 6, 7 moves, and it looks great. You can follow the action, you can see what's going on. And with Jackie Chan, he hardly used stunt doubles, so it's easy to do that. And these guys aren't using stunt doubles, so they should be able to film longer sequences from one angle and really help it look better. Now with a series of reaction videos, specifically reacting to fight scenes. Really these are going to be fight scenes more or less. As you can see, he's from short films and independent projects. First thing you'll notice is, one, the gentleman being thrown, he's spotting. So he's looking for the hood, for the windshield, with his eyes. So that means that he is turning his shoulder. When you look behind you, your shoulders automatically turn as you go to look. So it's really important for you to not turn your head, because you spot where you're landing, it turns your whole body, and as I've learned from wire work, that can be a huge problem too, because once you get pulled, if you have your shoulders rotated or you turn to look for your spotting, your whole body's going to rotate and it's going to mess you up. So you don't want to look that way. What you want to do is you want to look down, have your chin tucked to your chest. Doing this will prevent your head from snapping back and hitting whatever it is you're landing on, in this case, a hard windshield. So just a general rule of thumb when you're doing stunts, if you're doing any time of falling on your back, you always want to tuck your chin to your chest. That's just a general safety rule that prevents whiplash, and that prevents your head from cracking the back of your head on something. The other problem that you'll notice, not so much a problem, but just something that you would think of, he's not wearing a back pad. And ideally, when you're getting thrown onto a car, you should wear a back pad. That's really, really important. And they're wearing loose enough shirts you could get away with it for this quick shot, and you won't really notice it that well. The other issue here I see is trust. The guy on the left has to trust the guy on the right. So the guy getting slammed needs to trust the guy slamming him to put him in the correct place. He needs to lift him up, he needs to jump to help, we call it self-motivating. And then the guy on the right that's throwing him is looking where he needs to put him. He's doing a good job. He's looking where he needs to put the other guy and going there. The guy on the left isn't trusting him, and so he's trying to look to make sure, and that's turning his shoulder. And what you'll notice is he'll land on his left shoulder, and his head will knock back. Right there. So only his left shoulder is contacting, and his head is shooting backwards as opposed to staying tucked forwards. And like I said, that can be a problem. I think I remember seeing the behind the scenes where he mentioned his head hurt a little bit. And it's probably because he clipped his head on the windshield. Don't know that for a fact, but that's what I'm assuming. Now here's another thing. Curled wrist. Again, I keep bringing that up, but just a side note. Curled wrist. Don't curl your wrist. Keep it straight. He's throwing these 2 punches, and the guy's reaction could be a lot bigger. You definitely want to sell when you're getting hit. More in the face, more head snap, that kind of thing. And there we have a miss hitting the windshield. And the problem here is you don't really, again, it's the shooting of it. We have this punch happening. We don't see a shot of the guy with his back on the windshield seeing the punch coming and turning to avoid it. Instead, he's staying here, and the next thing you know, the punch comes in and misses him. So from a filmmaking standpoint, you want to show him, you want a shot of the guy getting ready to rearing back to throw the punch, the guy on the ground turning to avoid it, and then a shot of it coming in, and then a shot from inside. So again, that's something where you're seeing a lack of good storytelling. It's just boom, it happens, but you don't see the character moving out of the way, any kind of thing to tell you that he's moving out of the way. It looks like the guy just happened to miss his face. Moving on. Okay, so a couple things here. If you go back and look, the guy's positioning on the hood, you notice both legs are together. He's kind of leaning back a little bit. To help sell the power, you should have more of a leg separated, so that way you can be more stable, and then that way your punches can be more powerful. If your knees are together and you're just kind of sitting back like you're praying almost, you're not going to have as much power. You're more tippable. There's less stability. And then this push that you see happens here, he pushes him off. The guy that's getting pushed off needs to really sell the power behind it, because the guy on the right's a lot heavier than the guy on the left. So you should really make it look like, oh man, he really pushed me off. He just kind of pops off and lands. And then here, wow, I didn't notice that before. Hang on. So he pushes off. Oh, I gotta slow this down to show you guys. So right here, you're gonna notice the guy has his chin way far forward, like giving it as a target. Here's where you need to punch at, rather than kind of, he should still be reacting like, whoa, I just got pushed off, I'm a little confused here, and like, what's happening? And then wham, you get punched. So that's something that you should work on. Now what I do like is that the guy on the right, he's loaded up, he's got the arm back, so it's going to go from one end of the frame to the other end of the frame, which is what you want to do in a punch to sell it. So that's great. But one thing I just noticed here, he's already reacting to the punch before it's even happened. So if you see, the fist is right here, by the way, it's curled, is here, and then the guy's already reacting to getting punched, and the punch hasn't even arrived yet. So timing, a good stunt performer will work on timing, so that way when the punch is, as it's crossing the face, you're reacting to it at that time. Right now what he's doing is this. He's leading the punch. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to lead the punch. You want the timing to be right with it. So he's doing that. I just noticed that for the first time now. He's leading the punch. Now this guy, he's going to throw the punch, and it's going to be a little low. See that right there? It's below the chin, so it doesn't look as effective. If it was up near the eyes or the nose, if you aim for the nose or the eyes, it'll look a lot better, especially from the lower camera angle. If you're too low with the punch, you won't sell. So you gotta go a little higher to sell it. So he could be up here, and it would look a lot better. Also, he's rainbowing. He's coming back here, and he's coming through the punch, and he's coming down with it. He's kind of doing a rainbow. And you don't want to do that. You don't want an arc in your punch. It looks silly. If you're watching fight scenes in movies and you see someone rainbowing like that, it's because they're supposed to miss typically, and they're trying to make it look like it was a close miss. And in this case, it's supposed to be a punch, and he's rainbowing. So you don't want to do that. So it should be higher. He should avoid rainbowing. And then the other thing, if you notice, what should be happening here, his fist should not end up coming back towards camera. It should extend straight out towards the trees here. And that'll actually help sell the impact of the punch, because the punch is going the same general direction as the head is turning, rather than kind of coming back around this way. Rather than boomeranging, you want it to come out and then continue past. So instead of going here and going wham, I don't know if you can even see that. Let me see. Can you see it okay? So if you're here, the punch is coming from here, and you go here and then go here. It's not as effective as if you're here and you go wham to there. I hope that makes sense. And that's it for that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something from this video. I hope it was educational. I hope that it's given you some more insight into stunt fighting, stunts in general, and how to improve if you're making your own action feature, action short, whatever it might be. I hope this was helpful to you. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and share this with your friends. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.